Yo, 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 yo.
About
Unmuted in chat. What's up?
about this USB-C charger that the iPhone now takes, but I didn't want to buy the iPhone brand.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to fully charge your phone in like 20 or 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what Androids have that now forever. The fast charging.
Yeah.
My OnePlus, my Samsung has it too, but my OnePlus was the first one that I had with it, and it was like 30 minutes, 0 to 100. It was nice.
Yeah, that'll be pretty convenient.
Tell you what, though, you get dangerous with that charge now. You're like, 5%. I can go a little longer because this thing can charge in 20 minutes. Not a big deal.
I'll be done soon.
Not a big deal. It's very nice, though, when you're on vacation. Let me get our beautiful faces on stream. What is up? You ready?
Yep.
Hello and what is up, and welcome to episode 318 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever. We will have a back-to-back ValoRANT edition episodes. There's a lot of news for ValoRANT dropped in the last couple of days. And we will also give our too soon first impression review of League of Legends Wild Rift for your mobile device, as that is now available for everyone. So we got a chance to play it, and we will talk about it. And of course, e-news to finish up the show. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about Alt Esports. That's ULT esports.com. You need to go there right now. And look, we told you last episode the R-Cities hoodies are available. Now they are available for the second round. So you can click on the notify me when available. Pick yourself up the R-Cities Rose hoodie, white and red, very stylish. Now I know what you're saying. You're saying, Tim, it's getting to summertime. Why on earth would I invest in a hoodie? That's an excellent question. And it's because you don't want to look like a complete idiot going into someplace in the summertime cold and you're like wearing last year's hoodie. Think of what a fool you will look like wearing last year's hoodie. Okay, no, get ahead of the curve. Nothing wrong with that. So you can go to altesports.com, pick yourself up R-Cities hoodie. Also partnered with your very own Center Ring, so you can pick up a 101 Burglars hoodie. And the #1 team in the world for ValoRANT, Sentinels. So you can pick up some Sentinels merch while you're there as well. altesports.com.
Hey, this is Mango. You're listening to TSR.
TCR.
TCR?
TCR. The Center Ring.
That's what I said. I did say TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring Esports Podcast, aka TCR, unless you're Mango and it's TSR. And Mango is the only one that can get away with that. But it's more importantly your favorite esports podcast, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location, presented by Alt. The date, March 31st, 2021. The time is 9:06 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Our Discord is in the link in the description, as well as our Patreon link. So if you want to support the show, there you have it. Our website, tcr.gg. And everything else you'll need to know is there as well. If you're listening on iTunes or any other app that allows you to leave a review, I'm told that looks good for us. So go ahead and leave a review. Make it 5 stars if you want, but you just leave that review. My name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
We finally talk League of Legends, and it's on mobile.
And it just took mobile to do it.
It just took mobile to do it. Excited for this one.
Go figure.
So Tim and I did not talk about this beforehand, just so y'all know. So our thoughts are going to be raw. Yeah, like raw emotion. So I'm really curious to see what you have to say about it, honestly.
I'm fired up. I can't wait to give my League of Legends mobile review. Can't wait. Anuj, though, we are a public show. We are free. You don't have to pay to listen to us. And being a public servant, I feel like it's our duty to let people know that tomorrow is April 1st. Better known here in the States, maybe worldwide, I don't know, to be honest with you, is April Fool's Day. I don't know if that's a worldwide thing or just here in America.
I mean, I know it's at least in Europe because the tweets have already started.
All right, well then
I saw the ROPS to OG tweet.
Okay.
Looked very convincing.
So
It got me for about half a second until I noticed the verified mark was some bogus mark that they had on there.
What you're saying is it's already begun.
It's already begun.
So I've been on record for this many times, so I'm not afraid to speak my mind. April 1st is the worst day of the year. For corporate America especially, but especially now you pile on esports orgs, it's just not funny. We all know it.
Because it's a wasted day now.
Right. Like it used to be, like I felt like you got like really fun, like everyone knew they were jokes, but also like ha ha ha, like the Razer toaster, right? Now it's just, it's been worn out. I feel like the internet has worn out April Fool's Day for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Like,
me getting
I would
older.
use April Fools to announce real, like, legit bad news, right? And leave it there on that day. That way people don't know, like, how to take it. You know, some people will think it's a joke. You might not get the same type of, like, if I was Sinatra, I would make my statement tomorrow. Like, that's what I would do. I would make my statement tomorrow and let people decipher the hell out of it.
Like you
And
talk amongst yourselves.
yeah.
See what's happening here. Now I like that strategy. It's a good strategy. All I'm saying is be prepared for fake roster moves, fake signings, fake products that you know are so unbelievable that you don't, like Razer already put on their Facebook that they created RGB hair dye. Like, haha,
Funny.
haha. I get it.
I mean, I would buy it if it was real. Like, if I could legit get my hair to just change colors, like
Just whenever you
with
want.
the wireless remote that'll die on me probably in about 6 months, like yeah, I would for sure get it.
But so it's just, all I'm saying is just be prepared. April 1st is here. April Fool's Day is here, and it's just going to beat everyone down, borderline to death. But we'll get through it. We will get through it. Other than that, a lot of news came down the pipeline for ValoRANT in the last couple of days. So let's kind of get into it because we have a packed ValoRANT to get to. So
Yeah, like I think one of the key things here is Dignitas made their April Fool's joke early too, I feel. You know, like how are you going to announce that you're dropping your ValoRANT team in one of the fastest, you know, up and coming esports? It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they announced a little early here.
maybe like their social media intern misheard them. Like, no. We said Counter-Strike for ValoRANT. And then he accidentally just put ValoRANT.
Sounds like a joke. I mean, that to me is surprising because it's not like they were a bad team. They weren't the best team, and that's okay. Like, not every team.
But I also remember when they announced that team, we never thought they were the best team and were pleasantly surprised when we saw them, right?
Yeah, but I didn't doubt that they would be a competitive team either. Like, I didn't think they were the best team, but I also like believed,
Top 10,
okay, this
top
is a team
15.
they'll win some games. They're top 15 team
Yeah.
probably pretty consistently, and you know, they'll be okay. They can make changes to get better, right? It's not like this is your team forever. So if you need to make a swap here and there, but you have Def, who is a highly touted CS:GO pro with a lot of experience under his belt, you know, done pretty well in ValoRANT. Psalm, also a highly regarded player coming from multiple esports. Like you've got talent there, and maybe you make a couple changes down the line, but it's something to work with. And instead, you go with the roster disband completely, exit Valorant from the men's side at least for now, and focus on CS:GO for the men's side. So just weird, like a weird move. It didn't
Yeah.
make 100% sense to me that this is what we're going to do rather than retool and rebuild. We're just
And
quitting for now.
maybe that's as we've talked about early Valorant and how we've loved the way Riot has handled it with the tournaments and qualifiers and things like that. Maybe this is one downside to that is teams are extra anxious to pull the trigger or pulling the plug rather on rosters and players and teams because you have these qualifiers and not only like just one, but you might have like 3 qualifiers into one big event. And as we said last time, the major event for the championship tour, the only 8 teams made it, right? So the talk around town was if you weren't one of those 8 teams, it was like, oh, you're in trouble. You got to look at your roster, tear it apart. And in reality, it's like, I feel like other esports have so many little tournaments in there. It's not a huge deal if you don't win them or perform as well because you have so many to get through. Where with Valorant, right off the bat, it's like you've had a handful of huge tournaments, and so it's just like they're amplified compared to normal.
Yeah, and with the 8 teams, it's only a couple from each region too. So it's like it's 8 teams total globally. So each region is awarded X number of spots. So I mean, if you weren't one of the teams that got in, I wouldn't sit there as an org and be like, "Oh, my team sucks." Like only 2 or 3 teams are going to make it. There's going to be a lot of good teams that don't end up playing in this event ultimately, and so I wouldn't look at that one event and be like, "Oh, if we're not going to make this, well, what are we even doing?" Like that doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, every tournament right now does feel like the biggest tournament because there's such we're playing in a COVID era. There's no LAN events. You, Riot really hasn't stepped in yet to like run the operation. So TOs are also figuring out how to do this for Valorant itself. And so yeah, like every next event kind of feels like the biggest event, First Strike, and now like VCT Stage 1 all of a sudden was like its own major in a way. But we have a Stage 2 coming up, and like the more that come and go, I think it'll kind of put in perspective like, okay, those were like big events, but they were very early events. Like I don't look at 2014 Counter Strike and look at maybe they had 20 events for the whole year versus like the 40 or so that we're seeing now. I don't look at those years and be like, oh yeah, 2014 IEM Dallas was the biggest event that happened. Like you just kind of put
Right.
them in perspective as time goes on. And so I, I think this was a bad move. I think for me, I'm also looking at, we talked about this last week. What is Riot looking at right now in judging which teams they want to bring aboard when they ultimately go to their league system? And if I'm a team right now, the last thing I'm doing is dropping out, getting out of the spotlight, and not being part of the game at all. From the men's side. Again, like I know they have a women's team still, but um, kind of focusing on the men's side here. So
Well, let's be
I
real. When it comes to the franchising slot, you're not using it on a women roster.
you're probably not going to get awarded that spot unless your women's team is at ranked very high, like one of the,
Yeah,
the
and we
men's
just
teams
haven't
are right
seen
now.
that.
So yeah, like if they're in that position, great, awesome, good for them. But I think just this will take you out of the spotlight. The events right now that are highlighted are typically male dominated events, so I would not want to exit that stage when I know they're watching, and that it might make a difference. It might not, right? Ultimately, Dignitas has a great reputation. Maybe they believe they have a chance with or without a team right now because they'll make a good pitch to Riot when the time comes. But this hurts, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I think it from not even from your perspective. I just think from an outsider's perspective, even looking at the comments on Twitter's and like seems like people are generally kind of confused by this. not just like an announcement of, hey, we're going to rework the roster. We're taking a step back from Valorant on the men's side, right? So it's not even like a hey, we're just gonna, because they just
We're,
released
we're
soft.
exiting. Like we're exiting right
Right.
now.
Yeah, they're leaving the scene, which, I mean, from what I know, the first team to enter and leave already in Valorant, which I don't think is any indication on Valorant being a failed esport, right? I'm sure you're gonna get some idiots out there saying like, "Oh, look at this! It's the first one to go. I guess they're going back to CS. Or I guess, focusing on CS is the way to do it." No, 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 no. That has nothing to do with this. I think this probably has more to do with Dignitas more than anything, as an org. But yeah,
Are they really focusing on CS though? Like they have Forest, Freiburg,
there is
Lecro.
someone in their payroll department focusing on it, at least enough to write the checks out to their players.
Uh, sure, like you're not competing in Counter Strike either right now, technically. So what are you doing? Like
Yeah, it's
it's a big name and a historically good organization. So baffling move. Now the Dignitas ex Dignitas roster will still be competing in stage two. They'll just be playing under their own banner title or whatever. So they're still going to be competing as a group and obviously trying to get signed, whether that's individually or as a team. I don't think they really care at this point as long as they get picked up somewhere. But at least they're competing and might be a little extra motivation. Definitely a team I'll be rooting for. I know that as stage two comes along, like I want to see them do well, and I like the players on that team, so I'd like to see them get picked up and
it
continue their
also
career.
bears the question, and I don't want to talk about it now, but at one point, and maybe we can get someone on to discuss it with us that is more business savvy than we are. But where is this $1 billion part of this $1 billion industry that I keep hearing about? And then I have orgs like Dignitas having to back out of what is arguably the most popular game right now in esports.
Yeah, like it's $1 billion industry, but it's not like the teams are making $1 billion
Right.
either, right? Like it's $1 billion industry split amongst 150 plus orgs that are probably like, the top 150 or whatever, like
Yeah.
it's $1 billion industry as a whole. Then you add the TOs, then you add like game developers. Maybe they're kind of included all in
I
this.
just, like I said, I would like to get someone on just to convince me otherwise that this is like the most shaky $1 billion industry in the world. Like,
Yeah, like everyone acts like they're on the verge of going bankrupt by the way they make roster
right.
moves.
Like, yes, we just have billions of dollars in esports, yet everyone is just one bad day away from just collapsing. It's just
I mean, as we've seen, doesn't matter how big the org, nobody has unlimited funds, right? Envy exiting CS:GO, Cloud9, the number one org, at least in some rankings, of top three, top four, whatever, in everyone's ranking, exiting CS:GO. Dignitas not willing to have another
I
team
mean,
at the
this isn't
moment,
even
at
willing
least
to
in
try.
Valorant.
Like, you're backing out already. You're just straight up not trying in Valorant. Now, if finance apart aside, right? You can't, despite popular belief, you cannot persevere through finance issues, right? There is no amount of will that will get you through financial trouble. So if this is the case, then so be it, you know. But we'll just kind of go on from there. From follow-ups though from last week, Brax, we talked last time, was the unofficial rumor to be six-man signing with TSM. It is now official, so Brax is officially, for now, the sixth man on TSM. I will say this one note here, because I know I've been on the Valorant subreddit, and it seems like the sixth man is somewhat a confusing aspect for Valorant at the moment. I don't think this is the same idea as a six-man in Counter-Strike. In Counter-Strike, teams started signing six men because of the schedule and travel issues, right? And I believed that was primarily the reason. I don't believe for a second in Valorant that a six-man is being signed because of scheduling issues. I believe that this is truly like, this is next up in line and someone better, like they're about to make a roster move.
In this situation, yes, I agree. Like that's what's happening in my mind with Brax is Brax is being brought on to eventually take somebody's spot full time on that roster. But I do think a 6-man roster could work in Valorant outside of this particular situation because it is an agents based game. Maps, maps can be highlighted or can be won or lost on agent selection. Sometimes it feels just depending on how well some of these teams play them. So you could bring in a specialist, for example, to be your 6th man that maybe is just incredible on Cypher or Killjoy or something. Where, hey, if that's what you need for that map, or it's a specialist for a map or two, sure. Like I think I could see it working in that way too. But in this situation, yeah, I do believe Brax is being brought on to eventually be the starter, just like we talked about last week. I like the move.
Hmm.
Um,
I
I
love
thought
it.
TSM, yeah, I thought TSM needed to make a move, and I still think they need to make a full time move here. So I'm waiting for this 6-man thing to be dropped under Brax's name, but um, I, I think it's a good move. Brax still has a lot to prove. I'm not sold on him being one of the greats yet. Like he was the first, but it doesn't mean he's the best. Like I do think he's very skilled and has the potential to do it. But look, what we saw in Counter Strike was 6, 7 years ago now. It's been a long time. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen him compete at a high level outside of pugs and the occasional pickup in Counter Strike that we saw, especially towards the end where he was allowed to play on some teams there. But he's got a lot to prove, and that holds true for Valorant. And so I like it. I think it can be an upgrade for him. And it just excites me to see what that roster will do where maybe he does not have to be the man, where he
Right.
can go in, play a role, play it well. That's what he did well in Counter-Strike also, is he was a very good teammate, and putting him on a good team like TSM, hopefully brings that back out of him where he does not need to be the star. He just needs to play well.
And I don't think there's anything wrong in that. And I said that last episode where, you have guys like Brax and Tens where the roster was a built around them in their former situation and it didn't work out. And I think that's just because they're not the type of guys that can handle that pressure, that can put the team on their back in that type of situation. Nothing wrong with that. You could still be the best in the world, but also not being able to carry a team. And it's a team sport for a reason. So to not being able to do that, not a bad thing. To be the 6-man and work your way into the roster and feel it out, probably for the best. So I love the
Like
move.
not everyone's Michael Jordan, right? Like you
Right.
can't come in and it's like there are generational players that are able to consistently carry a team. You think of players like Simple and still hasn't won a major, right? But still good enough to where he can keep his team consistently in the top 5 based on his production. Like there are some players out there that can do it, but yeah, not everybody is that. And it doesn't mean that they're not good players or great players. You can be a great player. You can be a Hall of Famer without being a person that can solo carry a team. But I think it's a good test for him to go in there and he can still be one of the best on a very good team. And I hope that's what this ends up being for him. I'm excited to see them play together. I hope he gets some playing time early, and this is not something where they bench him for a little bit to try and work him in. Like, let him go out there. Y'all have been underperforming. Let's see what he can do. Very curious to see who they substitute out for him primarily. My guess is if I'm guessing, I would say it's probably Cutler or Subroza, even possibly, because he's been struggling as of late. But I just think they would be more willing to bank on Subroza coming back to his old form. Also, a younger player. Cutler is um, older gamer like us. He's been around forever. Hayes is also in that boat, but I think Hayes has been playing pretty good in general. So curious to see who they swap out for Brax and how he does. But it'll be one to watch, and I'm sure something we'll talk about again soon.
And another carryover from last episode, Alex, former Cloud9 now, Alex, former CS player, Alex, has signed with a French team. I believe their name is like Bref, whatever it is. I don't know how to say it. But he does sign up with them to play for the Valorant Challenger Stage 2. So he's wasting no time switching over into the scene. Now, I don't think this is like anything huge. I don't think this is a permanent move. This more seems like he just wants to make it known, like, hey, I am interested in Valorant and I am going to compete at a higher level. But there's that. Yeah, I don't know much about the team and as far as to give you like how I feel it's going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out. I think this is more just an announcement of, yes, I am switching to Valorant more than anything.
So my apologies for taking out the team name. I thought somebody had just put random letters together and accidentally typed that in.
I had
So
it in
deleted-
there. That's why I was
I
like, oh, what
deleted. I
happened?
literally thought that was like random letters that I had maybe just typed, like I was hitting my keyboard and not paying attention. So I deleted that. It is Brief. BREF is a team name.
BREF, yeah. Bref.
It's
However you'd say it.
short for brief in French. So it's a French word meaning brief, kind of what you'd expect. So, yeah, I think he's making the move. Like I really do, even though he could probably get a damn good contract, damn good contract in Counter Strike. You gotta, and I think he learned that this time. Like you have to have the team around you to make it work. Otherwise, guess what? You're not too good to where you wouldn't be cut to, right? And so I don't think he wants to run into that again because his reputation is still at a high point right now. But I think if you went to another team and it bombed miserably again or just didn't go well and you couldn't hold a good ranking, couldn't win tournaments or matches for that matter, it would really hurt his aura around him right now. And so I think this would be a smart move for him to make the move, but it's not announced. Okay, so this is just him signing up for stage 2 and he's going to compete in it. He has the time to do that now, so obviously not a bad thing, but he has been streaming it a lot, he's playing it a lot. Obviously he feels confident if they are signing up with the team. But yeah, I like the idea of him moving to Valorant, although it sucks a lot for Counter-Strike because IGLs are so hard to come by.
Well, and he was
unless
like
a good team
young
offers him a
up-and-comer.
spot.
He was a young up and comer at Counter-Strike, which is few and far between. It seems like more and more with Counter-Strike that you're just losing these younger players to Valorant and to other games. Now, I will say though, because you mentioned like how one bad hit now, and you could see his reputation take a dive. Alex, you know what player Alex reminds me of? Nifty. Where Nifty, for a little bit in Counter-Strike, was the belle of the ball. When he was on Renegades and then like making over that shift, I remember when Envy signed him, and it was huge. He was like top NA free agent in Counter-Strike, and if you were wanting to recreate a team or add something special to the roster, Nifty was like that guy to get. Then he comes over to Envy, and just it never translates. Right, like what you saw in Renegade. Not that he was performing bad, but it was just the team's performance overall when he was on Renegades compared to the team's performance overall when he was on Envy never really transferred for a 1-for-1. And I felt like for how long it was like that with Envy, did hurt Nifty's reputation at the end.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Renegades got better eventually after Nifty left.
Right.
Right. So that doesn't help. Doesn't mean that he wasn't good on that team. It's just, it's obvious that they were able to move on comfortably without him and move on to their 100
but to counter that point, Mouse also got better after Nico left. So
yeah, but I think Mouse was a better team after Nico left. Not because Nico wasn't a great player, but it gave them the ability to go get ROPS and kind of build a younger roster, and it worked out well. But like for Alex, yeah, like I just think another bad hit to the reputation could put him in a Nifty type situation. Like Nifty not only took a hit in game, but Nifty unfortunately took a major hit out of the game, right? Like there's a lot of like just negative press around him in terms of the type of control that he had. I don't feel that way about him. We had a chance to interview him. I thought he was a great dude. We met him before. I thought he was like a very personable individual and knowledgeable, but not just in the game, like kind of about life. Like you kind of got that vibe from him. Like the guy had a good head on his shoulders. So unfortunately, my opinion of Nifty doesn't change the public perception of Nifty, right? Like there might be a lot of people out there that feel the same way, but the public perception of Nifty is failed at building a team with Envy, now toxic or whatever you would want to label him as, with his teammates. Alex is not in the toxic realm, but has the failure aspect tied to him now. You left Vitality on your own accord, but that was even weird, right? Like the leaving Vitality felt like a really dumb move at the time. I know he needed a break, but do what everybody else does. Let them sign in a sixth man, and you go chill out on the beach somewhere for a couple of, even a couple of months if you needed it. They probably would have been willing to work with him, right? Like nobody wants to lose a good IGL, and Vitality was playing well. This never got good with Cloud9, right? Like it was never
No.
a good situation. And ValoRANT gives him a little bit of new light, and it almost is like the nitro effect, right? Of like, oh shit, like a really good Counter-Strike player is moving over, and I think he would easily get onto a roster, outside of this brief team. Like I don't think this is like a long-term thing. I think this is him just wanting to showcase his skills a little bit in
Yeah,
the
like
game.
I said, I think this is him letting the Valorant world know, hey, I am interested.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a little bit of a highlight reel that he can make, and hopefully things go well for them and they do okay. They don't have to do good, right? Like nobody's expecting them to come in and knock down doors, but if he looks good, trust me, there will be a very big contract out there for him on some European team. Like
He
there's
doesn't
no doubt
want
about it.
to commit to a relationship, but he'll go on a date. He'll
Well,
kiss
he
you on
should
the
be
cheek.
testing the waters. If there is a great team out there willing to sign him, look, that could do wonders for his career, because eventually Valorant feels big right now, but it's like really not yet. Like it feels big because we're so involved with esports, and we know, the game has a good following, but as an overall esport, it's got a lot of room to grow still, and it's only going to get bigger. Like I think this is the low point for Valorant right now where it's at. And so this is a great time to get in. If you can solidify yourself on a very good roster, and this game is going to do well, and this game is going to grow into something hopefully League of Legends-esque, right? It's not going to be as big as League, might not even be as big as Counter-Strike, but it could be a top 3 competing esport. Like I might want to jump in and see what's out there. So I don't blame him for doing it, and frankly, I would encourage him to look at this route.
Looking else here, we have BDS ends up signing the Diffuse roster.
And they did really good in VCT Stage 1, so it's obviously a hot roster right now. I think this is what we were hoping would happen to a team like Moon Raccoons, right? Like they perform well, somebody's willing to step in and give them a deal. That worked out for Diffuse, so that's absolutely awesome. You love to see a team, they worked for it, they earned it. So BDS has a strong presence in several games, so it's exciting to see them.
I was gonna say, for some people, they might not recognize BDS just because they're not Counter-Strike, right? But good Rocket League team, had a good
great Rainbow Six
team for a little bit there too. So good to see that they're moving over and taking Valorant serious as well. Excel announces the rest of their roster. Key highlight there: Happy is finding a home now with Valorant. Was he ever? I know he was on their team, like his own Orgless team. Is this the first signing that Happy's had?
With Valorant, yeah.
Valorant, right? This is like the first big signing. So
yeah, so this is him joining David P, former player from G2.
Yeah.
I think this is a good looking roster. I don't know some of the other names, but I know David P's performance. We've seen, I think, enough out of Happy to realize that he's also amongst the better grouping of players in Valorant, at least on the EU side. So I'm excited to see this roster and these guys kind of get a solid team together, right? Like ultimately your team's got to be as a whole good. It can't, we've just talked about it so many times. It can't be that one player. So some of these guys that maybe feel abandoned from their teams, like David P, to me was a really weird drop. Dad just passed away not too long ago, struggled a little bit in game shortly after that, but on a team that won 8 or 9 Challenger Cups in a row, or whatever the heck we were calling it, during that time. So that was weird. So I'm glad to see these two connect, build a roster around them. And they also got Biggie, I believe, who's been playing well. And I think it's a solid team. So in EU, I think they'll compete at a high level.
David P, I felt like again was one of those victims of the tournament formats. Just G2 was riding on a high, had a couple of bad performances on big stages, and then just done.
Yeah,
Little weird there.
it's weird.
Yeah, I just
It felt wrong. Like I was like, man, y'all need to make a change right now.
No one at the time was saying, G2 needs to make some huge changes here. Like the drop just seemed very odd at the time. What's also odd is Calypso and Shanks end up finding new homes. They join Rise. Calypso, being one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, was he not part of the talk of match fixing as well?
And Shanks, both of them. So obviously Rise got a discount here because these guys are about to get slapped with something, right? Like something is about to come down the pipe here for these two. Really surprised by this signing.
Like
I know we'll talk about this.
Shanks is former NRG, Calypso former Envy. That was dropped right around the rumors of match fixing. Like they were dropped in ties to match fixing.
Yeah, look, I know we're gonna get into this here more in E News, but to me, this is like good signings if they didn't have any baggage with them. Like bad signing because I feel like anybody else that's coming onto this roster should highly look at like who you're involving yourself with here. Even if you think they're great players, they're probably temporary. Okay, like chances are their names have come up so much. And I don't know Shanks or Calypso personally, but I've watched Shanks' stream. Let me tell you, I would not be surprised if he was involved. Like, he is a total millennial kid that looks like he's talking in emojis. Like, I don't even know what the hell he is saying half the time when he's talking. And I wouldn't touch these guys with the 10-foot pole right now. Like, I really would be hesitant to do that, at least until some of this information came out. Like you would think these orgs are doing their homework. Like if I know we know this because we're involved with the esports, but I feel like even looking at the subreddit and the Twitter posts, like this was kind of mentioned throughout in the comments section. Like, aren't they tied to match fixing? Aren't these two names involved somehow? I believe they're about to get slapped with something hard. So for Rise, look, it looks good on paper, but I just don't think this. I think you're living in a fantasy land right now.
I would have loved to have been on that interview call. Like, Shanks and Calypso must dominate the interview game. Like, for the job interview, like, how do you... So I see here that you're being investigated by the FBI for match fixing in Counter-Strike. Tell me about that. How did you find yourself in a adversity and persevere through it? It's like holy shit.
It's like, oh, we didn't do it.
Right. Stick your grounds. No, definitely not me. Definitely not me. So I don't know. It's enough from one person to. It's enough for one org to drop them, but I guess not for another to not sign. So we'll see. That will soon be to come because, as you said, we'll mention it in E-News, but definitely seems like there's more information about that investigation coming forward. So we'll just have to see. But apart from that, other news in ValoRANT, we did have some big updates on the way that should affect some gameplay and tournaments coming near you. Bucky, the shotgun, finally has a nerf. One of those
finally, it needed it bad.
What's funny is it's one of those things, like sometimes these balance updates, and it's not just in ValoRANT, but like especially like in WoW and things like this, you don't realize how overpowered something was until you see the nerf. And then you're like, what? Like the right click now went from like 15 shots to I think 7.
15 bullet spread to like 5 or 6.
Something like that. So it's like, what? Why was it at 15 to begin with? Like, does that not seem a little outrageous there, Riot? But...
Yeah, it's like it's been such a hot topic for so long that we knew it was coming. The thing is, like, right now, Riot, for me, from let's talk about ValoRANT standpoint, because they really have their shit together. Okay, just when it comes to ValoRANT updates. I know there's a bunch of other stuff going on at Riot that would let you think otherwise. But
You're
when it
not talking
comes
that.
to Valorant, this team really has their shit together. The updates are so constant. They might not happen at the speed of like you want this one particular thing nerfed or buffed, but they're constant at least. They're every week it feels like they're releasing like very good patch notes. Buffs are coming in, tweaks are happening, and they're strategic about them, and they let them test out too, which I like. Right, it's not an immediate reaction to people complaining about something, because a lot of times something can feel OP immediately, and then as it goes on, people understand how to counter these things, and it's like not maybe as strong as you believed. The Bucky was one of those that needed to happen. So this is awesome that it happened. Yoru and Viper, both those agents are getting buffed. That needed to happen also. Viper has just been in this pit of misery since she's come into the game. I mean, she's probably been picked less than 20 times in competitive matches, right? We saw a little like string of her getting picked when they did some initial buffs on her, and I think that was just people feeling her out and seeing, was there anything
More
there.
experimental picks than anything.
There wasn't, so once again she's out of the meta. I would love to see Viper get into the meta because she's got some really badass abilities. That wall and like obviously her smokes and her slows, like she's got a good toolkit. It just doesn't feel useful right now, right? And so some big buffs coming around those two agents. Love that. And then the last thing, like the thing that I'm most excited. Did you have anything you wanted to add on Yoru or Viper?
No, I was just gonna say Yoru is one of these guys where don't ever listen to me on what's going to change the meta. I am the worst at predicting it because every time they announced a new agent, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's gonna break the meta. And then like pros get a hold of it, and then the meta stays the same.
Yeah, like I think like Yoru is an agent you would see a lot in pugs right now.
Right, but from a
because
competitive
he's
standpoint,
got that cheap ability where he can put the goggles on and kind of just walk around the map freely for a little bit there. But excited about both those buffs nonetheless. And Yoru to me looks like a cool agent. Like I enjoy gameplay of him. I have not tested him out myself, but I've enjoyed watching some gameplay of him, and it looks like he could be useful with some tweaks here and there. The big thing, HRTF is coming to Valorant. HRTF is what, you ask? It is the sound 3D positioning audio, basically cues that you would get in game. Counter-Strike did this a couple years ago, 2 years ago. I don't know. Time kind of goes by in that game with me now. But Counter-Strike did this update a couple years back, and it was huge for the game. It wasn't a success like immediately at launch. People had some negative feedback for it. It's been the best thing that could have happened to audio in Counter-Strike. They released some audio footage of how this is going to sound different. Dude, it's so big. Like the audio in Valorant was pretty crap, honestly.
It was the worst part. It was like if you went and played, it was like even for us who really enjoy the game, it was like as you're playing, you're like, dude, this audio, and it's like it was so bad to where it's like even if you were trying to backseat game someone, like I'm sitting here playing, a Nuge is dead, and I have to ask a Nuge for like a second opinion to be like, where are these footsteps coming from?
It was constant.
I
Yeah,
got
like really
nothing.
constant, and like not knowing where crap was happening. Like everything just sounded in front of you. Didn't matter which way you were facing, it just sounded in front of you. Well, that's what this is supposed to fix, right? So I think this is an amazing update for the game. I mean, what more could you ask for? Like I said, each week it just feels like we're getting better and better things out. So excited for this. I think it'll be good. I think all these nerfs and buffs that they did will be good, including the sound one. So excited to jump back in and give it a little test run and see what we think.
Yeah, no, the sound change, I wouldn't even want to say what it is. It's like mainly just completely redoing their sound engine. I think is going to be the biggest one. I honestly think, like from a competitive and casual standpoint, it's just going to make the game 1,000 times more enjoyable to play because we have hit that point in time, Anuj, where we're discussing about putting people to live on the moon. I should also have pinpoint audio in my video games.
Look, coming from Counter-Strike, where you rely on sound cues everywhere, Valorant was brutal in that aspect. And so, I mean, this was needed. Like, it just needed to happen, and they recognized it and they did it. So bravo, and we'll go enjoy it now.
And a Nuge. Time for the highly anticipated Too Soon review. Our first impressions on League of Legends Wild Rift for your mobile device. We both had a chance to download it. We both had a chance to play it. I've played a handful of games.
And we
Still,
didn't even talk about playing it.
no. It just, I saw people on Discord talking about it, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll download it. Now, disclaimer, I'm not like a phone game guy. I have Pokemon Go that I occasionally pull up if I'm somewhere that I'm bored, but like that's it. I don't
The
have
most
games.
gaming thing I do on my phone is the WoW companion app.
Yeah, I just I don't play games on my phone. I just not like any particular reason why. I've just never been that kind of guy. I think for a little bit I was, and I just found it being too distracting in life, so I just delete them all. Right? I just don't need it. That being said, I know Wild Rift was getting enough attention on the internet, so I downloaded it. I wanted to test it out. It's League of Legends to me. I still have no idea what I'm doing. It plays smooth for the sake of it being a mobile game. I would like for the matches to be a little faster. I don't understand the Wild Rift part, so you who play League of Legends might be able to tell me what's different, but I still feel like the games take a little too long for being a mobile game. Like, I need this to be, something I can play while waiting somewhere, not like if my wife needs me or something. Like, I can't play this on the couch because kids and wife are demanding.
So I only played the traditional Summoner's Rift, which is the normal map. And I think, like, at least when I was doing the intro, like, I don't know if you did all the intro stuff where it like had you go through it. They had one mode where it was just like a one lane, but it wasn't Aram. So they have like all random, all mid. I saw that was in the patch notes. That will be a test feature in the game. So I think they'll add Aram to the game.
Which
But it
honestly will
looks like,
probably be the appeal for me. Like, just a quick ARAM, like
yeah,
that's what I need this to be.
I really liked it. I thought the game was so smooth on the phone. I was like pleasantly surprised. I was like, wow, this is running like a high-end PC on my phone. Like
Now,
it,
you and I did just get brand new phones, so that definitely
yeah,
helps.
yeah. Like I just got the new iPhone just the other day, so this was a
And
good
I'm on the
time to try.
Samsung, so we are perfect. This is really the perfect review. You have an iPhone, I have the new Samsung.
Yeah, no, it is. And I was, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I had fun playing it. I wanted to play more. You're right, it was timely. Like I when I'm in particular, if I were thinking of playing a mobile game, I'm thinking like I need something that's 10 to 15 minutes, right? Enough for me to take a good extended shit and like also be done with the game by the time I'm done,
But also
right?
not like a suspicious shit.
Yeah, like I can't have my wife being like, "What are you doing in there?" She can only ask that one time per drop, you know. And then I also understand that, hey, this should probably be my cutoff time. Which, look, it's my thinking time, Tim.
The
Okay, I
best
do need,
ideas happen in the bathroom. That's
yeah,
no
for
doubt.
sure. So I would agree with you there, but I do think if they add Aram, that would be helpful. Although Aram is not like Aram can also be a 15-20 minute game too, right? It's not like a 10-minute game necessarily, but that'll help reduce the time. But for all intents and purposes, I thought it played great.
Yeah.
And what it did do is get me a little bit more excited for Diablo Immortal, knowing that I'm not getting Diablo 4 anytime soon. And honestly, kind of like losing my excitement level there in terms of, yes, I'm going to play it when it comes out, but I don't give a shit to like look up stuff on it anymore because they don't care to tell us when it's coming, so I'll follow you when you give more information. This did get me at least excited for Immortal if and when that does come out, because look, it played really good. Like I
Yeah.
was, like I said, it was so smooth, and I was
No,
like,
it
man, like
plays, to me, it feels exactly like League of Legends on the computer. Like, it doesn't feel like it's any more sluggish or anything. Like, I've gotten into some pretty big team fights, right? Where, 5-on-5 team fights in mid, and it didn't slug. Like, it wasn't choking up, it wasn't freezing at any point. It felt really good. Again, I will say, to my advantage is I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know what they're doing right now because it's on mobile, so you're just getting a massive crowd of people who are easily logging in. Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing on this game, but I did. I said, like, in Discord, if you want to play I put my name in the League of Legends section of our Discord. So if you want to carry me, go ahead and join. Like I said, it is fun. It is going to be the perfect game, and so will Diablo Immortals, because you're right. It has convinced me that I might actually play these games now on my phone. It is the perfect game, Anuj, for like when you and I are traveling and we're in the hotel room at night and don't really want to play anything on the laptop. We just want to sit in the bed. Perfect. This will be the perfect game to pull up, knock it out while, before bed or something on travel, waiting for the airplane, something like that. This is the perfect game for that. But
I do wish these games gave you the option for controller support. I know they want you to use, it's designed with the on-screen, touch and all that. So I get that, but it could very easily be a controller-based game because there's only 4 buttons that you're pressing. There's a buy menu, it seems like it could easily be done with controller support. I don't really like my hands on the screen that way. Like, I feel like it just blocks the view, and the screen's already small enough, nowadays. But outside of that, yeah, cool game. It was fun, played well. Will I play it a ton? Probably not.
No.
But will I log in from time to time? Like, yeah, sure. Like, if I'm bored and have some time and can't get on the PC, I'll play it again. But like I said, it just gets me excited for a game like Rocket League. I think Rocket League could work great on mobile. I think Diablo could be good on mobile.
We did play Diablo Immortals at BlizzCon, and it did feel good then. So I'm not.
It did.
I'm not.
We were playing on iPads though, right? So we weren't playing on a phone necessarily.
Right.
So I think that'll be interesting to see how it is on my phone versus like an iPad. I'm not going to be running around with an iPad playing, but Diablo, you could get in and run a Rift in under a minute. Like you could run Rifts really, really fast. And so there's a lot of things you can do in Diablo that are short time span, I think perfect for mobile gaming. So that it gets me excited for some of the future of mobile gaming here.
Yeah. I feel like mobile gaming is just passing me by. I feel like as a host,
we're never going to be hardcore into it.
No,
we're never it's never going to be us.
I know there
we
are
have
people
time
out there. This friendly reminder. This reminds me, Kevin in chat, mobile esports, baby, Kevin, I love you, but no, and I will never, with God as my witness, Anuj, as long as I am one of the hosts for this podcast, we will never have a mobile esports section of the Timmies. Never. Because, today the nominees opened for the esports awards. So if you wanted to nominate yours truly for a section, go for it. Content creation, I don't know where we'd fall under. But they also have like the top esports rookie of the year, and they'll throw in mobile esports players. And if there isn't more of a sympathy vote, I've never seen one. Like, to throw a mobile esports player in on the esports awards, it's like, it would be like throwing a handball player in at like the ESPN awards.
I get what you're saying, and I get why we wouldn't add it on here. But we do sound like Americans talking about soccer a little bit, right? Like, because mobile is so big in other parts of the world. So the following for mobile is probably just as big as any, traditional esports scene, especially like you think of places like India, China. Like, the mobile scene is just ungodly massive. So it deserves a spot at the table. It's just, it's never going to be our thing. Like, it's just not meant for people like you and me. It's not meant for the person that has $2,000 computer sitting in their office with racing wheels and
Right.
like
Right.
it's not meant for us. It's not meant, like, it could be meant for the dad side of us possibly, right? Like that's
Like I
kind of
said, for
nice to
travel or
have that
something,
aspect.
great.
The travel side would be good too,
But like,
but
if you text me tonight saying, "Hey man, you want to play some Wild Rift?" I'll be like, "Hey man, you want to just play League of Legends like on our computers?"
yeah,
You
like
know,
it's like we were born in the 80s, dude.
sorry,
Maybe
I was
90s
born
for
in the
you, whatever
90s,
you were,
so
90s,
please
whatever,
don't age me.
young child. Like this is like a millennial thing, like this is something that's meant for kids that are now turning 16, 17, 18, like they grown up with phones in their hands. It's a lot more natural for them, right? Like some of these guys are probably godlike on phones. It's just not us. So it will never be part of our repertoire, but it's only going to get bigger, and we'll stand fast and we will not ever put them in the Timmies because I don't want to go against something that you believe in so strongly.
I really do.
But there is a seat for them at the table. We're just not going to talk to them.
We'll invite you. We'll just never give you an award.
Yeah. Well, you could be there.
Yeah.
You could be up in that booth where we were standing. Like
yeah.
you could be up there and look down amongst the pros, but
You can be in the same spot the esports awards put us the one year, which is right next to the light fixtures on the ceiling. So, in fact, maybe even higher. I think the lights actually hung lower than where we were.
we saw everybody.
I can tell you, esports have wonderful top of their heads. People in esports have lovely shampoo because their hair looked spectacular as we looked from the nosebleeds. So there you go. There is our Wild Rift too soon review. Overall, not bad. Not bad. I would recommend downloading it if that's your thing. All right, let's get into some e-news. First, e-news is brought to you by Philly Esports. You can check them out, phillyesports.net. They host monthly events for you to sign up for free and compete in esports in a professional manner. This month, April 17th, so coming up here in just about 2 weeks, give or take. 3v3 Search and Destroy Tournament, April 17th, 12 p.m. Eastern. $500 prize pool sponsored by Monster and U.S. Army. Go to phillyesports.net, sign up with you and your buddies, and start your pro gaming career now. In e-news, CS Taz, former Virtus Pro player, is the first player to reach 2,000 maps played on a professional level.
Crazy. That's a lot of Counter-Strike. A lot of professional Counter-Strike.
2,000 maps played. I would say 1,500 of them are Mirage and Dust.
Yeah, and like
Dust
maybe like 1,700 of them actually count because where the hell has he been for the last 300 maps?
I think he's. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's on a team with Snacks right now.
He is playing for
Honoris. Taz.
Okay, world ranking,
Neo.
the top 100.
Taz, better than Cloud9.
He's playing with Neo.
Neo. And some other people. Okay. So there you go. Keeping Polish Counter-Strike alive. That's what I like to see.
Hey, we like Taz. We're rooting for Taz.
That's what I like to see. 2,000 maps, incredible achievement by any player. As we mentioned earlier in the show, all the controversy coming up with the match fixing, people asking why it's taking so long. Well, it looks like E6 match fixing update here. They have been working with the FBI. So that explains probably why it's not as much information getting out there, because this is obviously being treated much heavier than what I thought.
Yeah, Ian Smith came out and mentioned today he's the head of the commissioner for ESIC, and he mentioned there's basically two groups of players right now. One group of players are players who bet on themselves. The other group were ones that were bribed by betting syndicates that they are also taking a look at in order to like fix games themselves. So actually fixing matches and then betting on themselves in matches. or possibly even against themselves. So they've separated it into 2 groups. They said we're going to have some announcement in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. So you can expect an episode probably fully focused around this coming up in the next few weeks here. Look, people are in trouble. Like, this is way bigger, than I ever thought it would go to. I didn't think we would get authorities involved because it's at the MDL level. I think if it happened at the tier 1 level, like, there's probably so much money exchanging hands that you would think for sure you would have to get authorities involved in some way or fashion. But like, now, if the FBI is involved, like, are we talking jail time here?
I'm
like,
sure for some, if the money is right, if you've accepted enough money, like, they don't like.
I do want them to hammer the hell out of those players, whatever it is. If it's jail, might be a little far, honestly. If you're asking me, like, I don't think I want to see them end up in jail
because they were. Honestly, they're probably just dumb kids who didn't know any better.
Like, there's got to be some of that to it. Not didn't know any better, but they were dumb kids, right? They knew better for sure. I'm not giving any of them on the pass on knowing what's right and wrong. They've all seen it happen with IBP. Like, they know there's big consequences for any sort of match fixing type of scandal. So, but there are dumb kids out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of dumb kids at like 16, 17, 18 years old. Like, that's just the way it works. So I don't think I want to see any of them in jail. I would be okay with their esports careers as a whole being over, though. Like, them just not being able to compete in any games, not let alone, like, not Counter-Strike. Like, use your reach.
Look, if you fixed ever in your esports career, it's done. Like, there should be none of this forgiveness in another scene. There should be none of this.
But we saw this with IBP, though, right? So it is a two-way. Like, IBP was one of the first to do it on that scale, and they kind of got a pass from the crowd because we felt it was too harsh. Now we've seen, it's a real penalty if you do this.
It's life's not fair. And that's all I have to. Life is not fair. You're right. Like, oh, well, iBuyPower got to play again. You're absolutely right. But like you said, Anuj, there is some advantage of being the first idiot. And it's people learn from your mistake as you have. Now, it's like you said, like, dude, we all know you're really not supposed to do this and you're going to get caught. Like, and there are still some people out there that say iBuyPower people should not be able to play in ValoRANT.
There's a lot. There are a lot of them out there. A lot of them say they should never have been unbanned in any way from Counter-Strike, right? Even if it was not just Valve doing it. They didn't want to see TOs even unban them in CS. And then obviously when they moved to ValoRANT, I don't think anybody like really truly said, I'm sure there were some out there, like you're saying, that they shouldn't be able to play in ValoRANT, but a lot of people was like, okay, this is a fresh start, new game, all of that. For the people that did it now, the people that they're looking at right now, they should not be competing in any esport ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever. I don't care if they come out when they're 30, 15 years from now and saying, okay, now I'd like to compete again. Like, can I get reinstated? Unfortunately, no. Like, fool me once, shame on me. Like, fool me twice. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
You
like,
can coach, you can be a GM, but you cannot compete. You cannot compete. That also being said, though, for the people who betted on themselves, let them go. Let him go.
That's a different type of situation. Yeah. If you bet on yourself, I think of Pete Rose anytime we talk about this type of stuff. Go. Like, I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame if he just bet on himself. Right.
There's no shame in saying that you're going to win.
That's a little. They should still be penalized. Okay, so when we say let him go, I'm just saying let him go from the side of don't give them a lifetime ban. But if they bet on themselves, honestly, I'm still okay with like a 1-year ban in that situation. You still did something that you know is wrong. Like, it's the wrongest of wrongs in competition to bet on anything related to the game that you're playing, right? Like, just it doesn't matter. Like, you don't know where that money is coming from. Maybe somebody from the other team was giving him the money to bet on himself. Now, they might not know that part of it. They just know that this player placed a bet for this dollar amount. Like, there's so many what ifs in that scenario that they still need to be penalized harshly. And I honestly think 1 year minimum for those that bet on themselves. But if you did anything other than that, it should be a lifetime ban. And we just don't have to talk about you again.
So we'll talk more about this, though, in the coming weeks when more details come out. That being said, Windstrike players leave their team after team breaches their contract. Most likely, though, it's just not being paid on time. So we'll see what happens there. Windstrike, a team that we occasionally saw at majors as of late. So
They were a legend team one
Yeah.
year, so
yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And follow up with the ESL Pro League. Last time the group was not settled. It is now settled. Astralis tops Group D. Liquid come in second, and VP third.
as soon as I question Astralis, Device drops a 40 bomb.
Oh, we said this
Probably
is just,
the easiest 40 bomb I've seen. Like, he made it look so easy and effortless that he comes out and puts up 40, and I like didn't even realize it by the end of the match. I was like,
it's what
he's at,
Astralis
like-
does. Astralis will struggle just to get everyone talking about them, and then they'll come in and just sweep the bracket stage. So just
he had like so many 4K and ace rounds. It was just
Get
he
ready.
made it like it wasn't the most impressive 40 bomb in the sense of like it was just very fundamental. Like it was like just really fundamental. You know, it wasn't star plays. Like he just hit his shots. He was in the right spot. He knew where his teammates were, where they had his back. It's really impressive though that he was able to get 40 in that match.
In Call of Duty news, major balance update. GAs are all over the place, so that's got people talking on Twitter. If you go to Clayster's Twitter, he's actually made some pretty funny tweets about this. Any big highlights, though, that you wanted to go over?
The AK-74 is probably not going to be used anymore with the nerfs coming their way. What's the other one? The MX, I think it's the MX4. I might be saying the wrong name there. In the sense it might be M4X or MX4, whatever it is. That's also been nerfed and like G8. I think like AR's got hit with subs got hit with a couple minor tweaks. AR's got hit a little bit harder. But yeah, the GAs are pretty much all over the place. You're seeing a lot of people come out and say, I'm going to use this, like especially in challengers are like, I'm going to still use it. Like it's a couple days before an event and it's one of the biggest events of the year. And now you're telling me you're banning like a gun that I've been practicing with.
Listen,
like I'm going to use it.
GAs are for chumps. Second place uses GAs. First place breaks them. Break them.
If I made a squad, I would get everybody on the team. The way I would define my team is, would you break a GA if it meant winning the championship? And if they all said yes, that's my team. We all go in and do whatever the hell we want.
100%. I'd be on your team because you know me. I'm breaking every GA
Mhm.
possible. It's been announced that a 420 bundle is coming out.
Like Activision, really is like just about the dollar.
They've done it
Like-
before. They've done the
I
420 Call of
know,
Duty.
I know. I see this and I'm like, man, y'all are all about that paper. You do not care. Now I know weed has been legalized in a lot of places, and I'm not anti-weed by any means. I just think it's like funny because like at the end of the day, it's still a video game, so I don't know if you want to be promoting that necessarily, but it's funny to see that stuff. It is what it is. I'm sure a lot of people will buy it, and Activision will give Bobby Kotick another 200 mil next year.
Team Vitality enters COD Mobile. Speaking of the mobile scene, with an Indian roster, Anuj, are you on it?
They reached out. I declined. I told them I'm busy with the show and everything that we have going on right now, but I'll be a consultant for the group, and we might have one of them on the show soon.
Now, you want to talk about games on mobile that my brain does not wrap its head around?
No.
I've tried COD Mobile. I've tried PUBG Mobile. Nothing feels more unnatural than a shooter on mobile. It feels, to me, terrible. Obviously,
Only thing that could make me play COD Mobile is if they had it as open mic.
Obviously, enough people do it to where it's popular. But, COD Mobile gets more love than COD does in general. But, don't like it. I don't like it. In FGC news, Twitch bans Mango for sexual content. You can't do that to me, Anuj. I'm too good.
I know.
In short, what it was, or I guess Twitch never tells you officially what it is, But Mango believes he was on stream, and Mango being Mango was goofing around, and took an anime figurine and humped it on stream. He did a humping motion, I should say.
That's not that bad.
No. And that's what he thinks got him the 3-day ban, was for that, because they said sexual content. And he was like, that is the only thing. I mean, normally, hopefully in your life, if someone says you're doing something and you're in trouble for sexual content, it's a short list on what it could be. You probably need to question your life if it's a longer list than I'd say 2. But, but he's pretty sure this was the one thing that he did was fake to dry hump an anime figurine.
That seems okay.
With,
I've seen worse on Twitch.
With all the other things going on Twitch right now, with like the titty streamers, Anuj, would you like to do a hot tub stream one time?
That'd be kind of fun.
I think it would be a bonding experience.
Like, it'd be nice to do a show from the hot tub.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get the camera out, do a hot tub stream. Do
you have a hot tub?
Super popular. I have a tub that I could fill with hot water.
We could do it in our bathroom. It's almost done with its remodel.
Perfect.
That'd be like a good time to show it off.
Kick off the new bathroom with a hot tub.
Maybe one of us can be in the standing shower and the other can be in the tub, and we'll just like gray out the screen.
Yeah, a tub stream. I like it. We'll do a tub stream coming up here. No, so hey, nothing new. This is not breaking news that there's double standards on Twitch when it comes to something a man does compared to something that female streamer. Some might call them titty streamers, Anuj. I will not degrade them like that. Sure, you might go on their stream and you'll see, I don't know, 70-30% ratio of tits to game, but they're not titty streamers. I will not say that.
When your game and your face cam are reversed, I think it's a problem.
It was actually funny because there was a chick on Twitter that Mango retweeted that I saw and complaining about this, forgetting what site she was on. And a lot of people were saying like, oh, how dare you not support other women? You're slut shaming. Which, first off, no, she wasn't. She was not slut. She actually never said anything. She just posted a screenshot saying, what website am I on? And I agree with her. Listen, Anuj. What an awkward spot for the music just to end on me. I love a girl in a hot tub just as much as any other person. But I also just want to watch my games.
You go to different sites for that.
Right. I have my hot girl hot tub website, and then I have my gaming website. I don't need them to mix. Like, Slipknot is one of my favorite bands of all time. But I also...
But you don't want to hear them in church.
Exactly. I also love going to the symphony. That doesn't mean I want Slipknot to play at the intermission of my symphony. Like, I want them separate. Some people, mix their foods. I don't. It's just who I am. I don't think that's prude of me to say.
See, I'm Indian. We mix all of our foods.
That's just because with the spices, you can't taste any of it anyways. It just all burns coming out the other end anyways. So there's that. In other FGC news, TSM Leffen breaks his hand, so it's going to require surgery. So seems
like a pretty big deal for a FGC player.
Yeah. So he'll be out of commission for a little bit.
Wish him all the best.
And in other TSM news, TSM signs Nick Ottinger for their first ever sim racer. So those who watch the Coca-Cola iRacing League and everything, that name will sound familiar to you. TSM, one of the first orgs to really get into sim racing. I know Space Station, because I actually watch the iRacing series on TV. Once in a while, but I know Space Station has a car. I think that's really it as far as like big orgs that I see. Kind of surprised.
Yeah, for sure. Like very surprising because like this really took off at the beginning of COVID, and it kind of hit a peak. Like you could tell by sim racing equipment prices that obviously there was like a flood and influx of people, and so now it's like obviously kind of leveled out in that sense, and so I wonder how many more signings we will see. It is. When I say it's leveled out, like it was like at the beginning of COVID, it was Fortnite 2019, right. And then it's like now it's kind of leveled out to where it's way more popular than it was pre-COVID, but it's not like at that
Right.
crazy peak high that it was. So I wonder how many more signings like this we will see. I hope there's a lot more, and that continues to happen. But yeah, like not as many as I thought would jump in.
Because Nick Ottinger, he's the defending champ of last year, so I mean, he's at least got some skins on the wall. But they still show a lot of like, it's on TV still. Like I was watching the NASCAR pre-weekend show on last Tuesday or Wednesday, and they spent a segment, like 7-8 minutes, talking about the iRacing series for tomorrow's race, and then like they showed it on TV. They advertise it during the actual race on Sundays. They'll advertise, hey, on Thursday, don't miss the iRacing series. Like, so NASCAR is still putting 110% into iRacing and esports in general. So for these big orgs, maybe not waste your money on chess players and jump into iRacing.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Envy seems like an org that would have a iRacing player. Like
Yeah,
they have them in a
100%.
lot of FGC. They're involved with Rocket League. Like
Well, especially
they're
just being
involved-
like more or less down the highway from Texas Motor Speedway.
yeah. Opportunity out there for some teams to still grab.
I do have a racing deal,
drivers.
so if anyone
Easy.
would like to sign me, I'm always
Who's
available.
better, you or your wife?
My wife actually isn't terrible if she's not
No, I'm
trying
asking legitimately.
by the rules. Me,
Okay.
if you're going street rules, my wife.
She'll just cut grass to get to where she wants to
Oh,
go.
bro, she asks me in the middle of racing. She's like, "Why is no one trying to hit me?" And I'm like, "Cause you're not supposed to be trying to hit people, babe."
Not bumper cars.
Right. She's like, "Oh." She's like, "I thought you were supposed to put them in the wall." I'm like, "No."
You know what though? That's the mentality I would play with.
Oh, I
too.
mean, rubbing is racing 100%.
Yeah.
But like, she legit just thought like you could end a man's life in racing, and it's
It's
all
like, babe, you see that speedometer there? It says you're going over 200 miles an hour.
right.
Really not going to want to run into anybody.
Like, it's just all fun and games, no? Smacking someone into the wall, that's what it's there for. So
Note to self: don't get in car with Tim's wife.
No. So it's all good though. So yeah, hopefully we see some more big iRacing signings. I would love to kind of see more esports orgs get involved. Can't be that expensive, right?
I mean,
As far as investment wise goes.
yeah, like if you're comparing it to like Counter-Strike, probably not, but it could probably still be a decently pricey signing.
How much, I'm Googling, how much to sponsor a iRacing car? iRacing sponsorship, Reddit. This has got to be dependable. It depends on what kind of okay, I don't need a book. Just give me a number. I don't care. All right.
We'll come back to that.
Money. It costs money to sponsor. That's what we've decided. But I think we could do it. So let me tell you what. If any of our listeners race in the Coca-Cola I Series, I will give you $69 to sponsor your car.
It's not bad. Or get our logo on your car somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I will give you $69 to put TCR's logo on your car.
Split into 3 payments.
So there you have it. There is E-News brought to you by Philly Esports. And that will do it for the show. Episode 318 of the Center Ring Esports podcast. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening or skipping around. Love you all the same. We will be back Sunday night with some Yikes of the Week. If you have a Yikes of the Week that you're thinking of, DM us or hit us up on Discord and we'll say it in the show and discuss the Yikes level. Maybe have some ESIC Counter-Strike player bans. I don't know. We'll see what happens there as well. We'll see. We will see. But that will all be Sunday night as we record. So follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring in case that time changes. Our website, tcr.gg, has a link to our Discord and everything as well in the Twitter description. So join that, be a part of the conversation. Add us on Wild Rift on League of Legends if you want. And we can occasionally play together. Other than that, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for listening. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Boom.
Dude, I need to start doing something with my freaking posture. My back, I was moving around the last 15 minutes. My back is just
Getting
it doesn't
old.
and it probably doesn't help that I bought a basketball the other day. So I've been taking Hudson to the park and just let him kind of sit there and watch me play for the most part.
Just watch him how it
Yeah.
gets done. Like, hey,
Yeah, just running around, shooting around,
you
whatever.
might hear about a man called Michael Jordan growing up.
And yeah, my back has just been killing me, and I know 90% of it is caused by the way I sit in this stupid fucking chair, dude. Constantly hunched over. Like I need to be sitting like this, and my shit just like kind of. Like, can I even do this? Fuck.
Just gotta get one of those stand-up ones.
Just need a new fucking chair. How does this work? Let me scoot these back. Scoop my chair in. I need to move my fucking computer to do this too. Jesus Christ.
Getting old. Getting old.
I'm about to like rearrange my whole office. When I say rearrange my desk, put my computer on my desk because Hudson already likes to just try and grab everything on it constantly. It's like a
worst.
24/7 battle. If he's in the office, it's
Yeah.
basically me getting him to not touch something, which is a little annoying.
No, yeah, it's when I see Shep run towards the front door, it's like a dead-on sprint to see if my office doors are shut. Because if not,
Yeah.
he's grabbing my guitars. He is doing everything in his power to rip the whole thing apart.
Yeah, I need to shift everything over like a foot and a half, and I can probably get my computer on my desk.
All right, anyone in chat? We're gonna end the stream so we can get to editing. Love your face. We'll talk to you later.